Hi everybody and welcome to TNT. Last day of the week, it's Friday. Tomorrow we've got our live show at 9 a.m. That'll go for about an hour. Just you and me and anything you want to talk about. It's a conversation between us and you're all welcome. Now I also need to apologise for the camera today, using the laptop camera there because my iPhone, which I usually use, is not cooperating this morning, so apologies for the drop of quality. It's not quite as good a camera, but then again it doesn't show the wrinkles quite as much, so I might use it more often. Start off with a bit of a background on a story from yesterday. This is from Coconuts, Bangkok, and follows up from the story yesterday of that cop that, or the policeman that went completely berserk. And the coconuts.co story says that cop dies in hospital after long Bangkok standoff. Lieutenant Colonel Kitikan, well, they've now given us his last name, and they've also given his age. I think he was reported yesterday as 32. He died of gunshot wounds sustained during his long-running gun battle with other police, and it happened in the Samui district. He was pronounced dead shortly after 10 p.m. on Wednesday at the Bhumjaithai hospital. Reports were inconsistent as to whether Kitikan was shot 3 times or upward of 6. More details expected to be made to the public today at some stage. So a lot more details to be announced about that. At this stage, we just don't know what triggered him. On Tuesday, Kitikan fired multiple shots at his housing complex in Bangkok's Samui district. Began a nearly 30-hour standoff and shootout. Tear gas was eventually deployed by the police to subdue the man. So I don't suppose we'll ever really know what triggered him off, but that report from coconuts.co. We go to our next story today and to the Bangkok Post. Cabinet approves a gun amnesty. Now, Thailand's never been short of guns, never been very good, though, at controlling the use. Let's see what's happening here. Cabinet has approved an amnesty for gun owners who have not yet registered their firearms following the mass shooting that left 36 people dead in Nong Bua Lampu. That was the mass shooting last year in the kindergarten, which shocked all of us. Ministers on Tuesday cleared a proposal that would allow owners of unregistered firearms to have their weapons officially recorded within 180 days without charges. The bill also allows owners to hand over unlawful ammunition to authorities within the same period without penalty. The proposed legislation, once approved, will improve the government's capacity to tighten controls on gun ownership and better monitor the movement of firearms going in and out of the country. I think anything that can help the Thai government control the movement and the knowledge of who has guns is only a positive thing. And the story goes on to say that further details were not available and it's not clear when the legislation will be introduced, given that the House is to be dissolved within days in preparation for the election in May. Tuesday's cabinet meeting lasted for 6 hours and ministers approved a host of plans and projects that might not surface again for months. And a bit like the cannabis bill that can't possibly be brought up again in Parliament until they actually have a new Parliament, and that's going to be probably August or September once everything is settled and a new Prime Minister has been appointed. So this legislation will just have to wait like everything else. Story goes on to say that the high number of firearms, registered and unregistered, and the ease with which they can be obtained, despite tough laws, on paper at least, have been widely debated since the nursery massacre in the northern province of Nong Bua Lampu last October. So let's hope nothing like that ever happens again, and at least the government is taking some steps to try and limit the registration, the use and the ownership of guns in Thailand. Our Friday program on TNT with the dodgy camera and everything. And on Sunday, we've got our Grumpy Old Men program. I was up with Steve yesterday recording that, and I was sick as a dog, sneezing. I'm still recovering this morning. I've got tissues all over the place, but I'll be fine. It's just a bit of a cold going through me. Let's go to our next story now, and it says that a Swedish man was arrested on Samui Island for 75 days of overstaying. Now, I've seen a lot longer than that, but at least 75 days you're still going to be deported. And there he is. I'm not sure what you think about these photos, but if you'd been caught by the police, would you be sitting down and getting a photo taken like that? They'd be saying, oh, excuse me, just before we throw you in jail, can we just get a quick photo of the police? We'll stand behind you, we'll sit you on a table, make you look like a complete idiot. Is that okay? I'd be saying, no, I don't think so. I'd be putting a bag over my head or anything, but to be sort of paraded there in front of the media with the police standing behind, I'm not sure who looks sillier, the man sitting at the table or the police behind him. Anyway, let's go on with the story. And it says Suratani Immigration Police told the Phuket Express that recently they've arrested Christopher Steffors. He's 34, a Swedish national. He was arrested on the Chuwit Beach Road in front of a department store. He's now at 75 days of overstay. He's facing overstay charges and is waiting to be deported. And the arrest follows Suratani immigration officers patrolling to crack down on overstaying foreigners, and this can include random passport checks, which are legal in Thailand. So I always recommend to people to make sure that you've got either a quick photo of the front page of your passport on your phone and take that with you, or if you have to, a photocopy of the front page of your passport and your visa page. So that's the best thing to do. Don't take your actual passport with you. Of course you can. Police may randomly stop you from time to time at a checkpoint, and if you are a foreigner, they'll probably want to see your passport, and they're entitled to ask to see that. So to avoid any delays, just make sure you've got a copy with you to show the police at the time. Oh, big thanks to 5 Star Marine. Now, today I should find out exactly where I'm going to be going the week after next on a bit of a 5-day tour. Was that a 3-day tour on Gilligan's Island? Anyway, it won't be anything like that. The boat's not called the SS Minnow, but I'll be going to 5 different islands, 5 different boat trips with 5 Star Marine, and you're coming with me. So that should be fun, doing the program, 5 different locations. Oh, let's hope the 5G works okay. But that'll be an interesting trip around the islands of Phang Nga Bay with 5 Star Marine. If you'd like a link to their website, it's in the description of this video. We go to our next story now, and from Phuket-go.com, police rescue 6 underage sex workers in illegal Patong bar raid. And a bar in Soy Sea Dragon on Bangla Road in Patong was raided by a team from the Department of Provincial Administration on Wednesday night, uncovering an illegal prostitution service allegedly employing underage sex workers. And that raid came after officials received complaints from Operation Underage Railroad. Now, I have to say that that organisation is doing fantastic work and working around the country to detect underage sex workers. And I'll be giving you some more information about them over the next couple of weeks. The story says that Ms. Taxakorn, also known as Nam, and Ms. Wacharakon, also known as Yuki, allegedly acted as a broker for the prostitutes. Bar was found to be operating without permission, and according to officials, 6 underage female victims were rescued in a nearby hotel, the youngest being only 15 years old. Indeed, that's a serious crime, and you can read the rest of that story if you'd like at Phuket-go.com. Moving on to our next story now, and the Bangkok Post reporting that Bhumjaithai to file legal complaints against Chuwit. Now, this is the man who was the former massage king. He was the former MP, very popular with the media, very entertaining, and he levelled charges at the Transport Minister, who's now been stood down by the Constitutional Court. He's also levelled other charges towards Bhumjaithai and aimed fire at their decriminalisation of cannabis, and saying that he's going to be campaigning against it, even though he's not actually an MP. So Bhumjaithai are firing back and saying they're going to take legal action against him. And the Bhumjaithai party will have its potential candidates in 400 constituencies nationwide file legal complaints against the whistleblower. Mr. Chuwit's ongoing criticism against Bhumjaithai were not justified, they say, but appeared to be attempts to mislead society and undermine the popularity of the party leading up to the next election. And the election campaign is well underway, even though the parliament won't be dissolved until next week. And we think the election's going to be on May the 7th or a Saturday before or after that. Other government organisations affected by Mr. Chuwit's criticisms are also expected to file legal complaints against him, according to this spokesperson for the Bhumjaithai party. Bhumjaithai would ask the Election Commission to prosecute Mr. Chuwit for creating public misunderstanding about the party, and it was a criminal offence, they claimed. He also warned that his party would take similar legal action against media organisations and other political parties which cited Mr. Chuwit's negative comments towards Bhumjaithai, which means just about everybody. Such parties could face requests for their dissolution. Well, I'm not a party, I'm not a media organisation, but I've certainly been broadcasting the information from Chuwit about the Transport Minister and about the other allegations made by Chuwit about some of the policies of the Bhumjaithai party. So you know where I am, you know who I am. Come and get me if you like. So that story in the BangkokPost.com. This story from Executive Traveller. So for those people trying to get from Asia back to Australia, or from Australia to Asia, or people that would like to go and visit Australia, here is a new way, some new flights that are going to make it probably a bit cheaper. And for those people in Australia complaining about the cost of flights at the moment, this might provide some relief, or at least some competition. VietJet locks in flights to Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne. The story says that VietJet, which it describes as a sharply priced carrier, is revealing flights between Brisbane and Ho Chi Minh City. Brisbane is the third largest city in Australia. It's up in Queensland. Queensland's sort of the Florida of Australia. It's the place where you go for a bit of sunshine and to retire. So flights between Brisbane and Ho Chi Minh City starting from June the 16th. And in April, VietJet is launching flights from both Sydney and Melbourne, and probably Adelaide and Darwin expected to be announced in the coming months. So this is a great way to get from Australia into Asia, probably at a slightly cheaper price. So you'd be flying into Ho Chi Minh City and then head off to into Thailand or any other locations in Asia. Ho Chi Minh City being well located in the middle of Asia and as one of the largest cities in Vietnam. And the story says that while VietJet is technically considered a low-cost carrier, its international Airbus A330s offer a premium cabin called Skyboss Business. I also note that Jetstar have got some seats up the front which are much more comfortable, and also Scoot. I think their product's called Scoot Plus. So a lot of these new low-cost carriers, they've got the cheap seats, but they've also got these slightly more comfortable seats with a few other fringe benefits, and usually the fares can be not much more than the cheap seats, and probably around the price of an economy seat in a full-service carrier. Anyway, I could go on. I only say that because I've flown on some of these premium services on the low-cost airlines and found them very good indeed, good value. And we now go to Time Out in Bangkok, timeout.com, and they're reporting about a Van Gogh Alive Bangkok. Van Gogh. Many people have got different pronunciations. I'm just going with Van Gogh for today. And come the end of the month, Bangkokians will get the chance to immerse themselves in the art of Vincent Van Gogh. They'll be able to see the Starry Night and his many self-portraits in Van Gogh Alive, a popular virtual reality exhibition that's been touring the world for almost a year. I'll definitely be going to this. Some of Vincent Van Gogh's, or Vincent Van Gogh if you like, most famous paintings will come to life with the help of immersive VR technology and sensory music. The exhibition finds a home in Bangkok on the 6th floor of IconSiam. That's the shopping centre on the west side of the Chao Phraya River. Very easy to get to. They've got boats running across the Chao Phraya all day. worth going to see that new shopping centre. It's quite innovative and interesting. And it's going to run up to the 31st of July. And the ticket prices range from 690 up to 1,490 baht. So here are some pictures from the exhibition, and a whole lot of LED screens virtually displaying some of the work of Vincent Van Gogh or Vincent Van Gogh, and I'm sure I'm going to be getting 1,000 comments about that particular pronunciation today. I'm sure we're going to be seeing more of these immersive type exhibitions where we've got a whole lot of LED screens which can, of course, not only just show a picture, but they can show moving images as well. And they're projections rather than pictures, so they don't have to be lit. The lighting is actually coming from the screen. So it's quite a different experience. So I'll definitely be going to see that, and when I do, I'll tell you about it as well. We go to our next story today. And it's a regional story from nationthailand.com. Hyundai becomes the world's third largest car maker. Now, I'm much more confident with my pronunciation of Hyundai because when I was working at Fox FM, a radio station in Melbourne, a million years ago, Hyundai was a new car maker at the time, which was importing cars into the country. Nobody had ever heard of them. And when we were talking about it, we'd be saying Hyundai or all sorts of other pronunciations. So they actually sent somebody to the radio station to teach us how to pronounce the word Hyundai. So I've never forgotten about it. Let's go on. It says Hyundai Motor Group has become the world's third largest car maker in terms of sales, an impressive feat after more than 2 decades when, in 2000, the South Korean auto giant made it to the global top 10, and now they're the third largest. We've got Toyota with 14.8 million units, Volkswagen is second with 8.5 million units. The sales figure outpaced Renault, Nissan and General Motors, and also Stellantis. Who is Stellantis? Good question. So I had a quick look. Stellantis is a multinational company. It's only been formed the last few years, and it brings together most of the Chrysler and Fiat brands and some smaller brands as well into one big group. They're not only making cars, but they're also manufacturing a lot of parts for cars. So we'll probably hear more about the Stellantis brand. And then down the bottom there, since 2010, Hyundai had remained fifth largest until 2020 when it climbed to number 4, went down to number 5, and then it went back to number 3. So well done to Hyundai. How long is it going to be until we start seeing some of these Chinese automobile manufacturers making their way into the top 10 car manufacturers? When I was young, it was General Motors and Ford, and then just everybody else. And if you were a good Australian, you'd buy an Australian-made car. Don't think they manufacture any cars in Australia anymore. Things have changed. So it's all Toyota, Volkswagen, and Hyundai, number 1, 2, and 3 in the world. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date after 15 minutes than you were 15 minutes ago. I'm very grateful for the fact that you've watched for the past 15 minutes. We're doing it live tomorrow, so great opportunity for you to join in. Hopefully my cold has gone by then and I've got my iPhone sorted out, but that would be great. We can spend an hour together and talk about anything that's on your mind, and everybody is welcome to join in. And on Sunday, me and Steve bring the next edition of Grumpy Old Men. But for now, have a fantastic Friday. Thanks for joining in, and I'll see you tomorrow.